Knocked Loose and Poppy, Suffocate. New video, 191,000 views displayed on YouTube in 17 hours. This band is doing bits. They're blowing up. I personally, of the two singles that they've released before this, have much preferred Don't Reach For Me, which was the last single that they did, over Blinding Fate. I know Blinding Fate has the big call out, which is really, really cool. But Don't Reach For Me just has more replay value from a overall song standpoint. So yeah, they have a new track. These guys are blowing up. It's mental. They have a new album on May 10th. It is called You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To, which I think is a sick name, and the story behind it is sick as well. Brian Garris explains it on the Downbeat podcast with Craig Reynolds, so go and watch that if you haven't already heard the explanation. But I haven't got much else to say. I've got so much to talk about with this collab before I even hear it, but we'll save all that for the end of the video. So before we go, leave a like in the video, make sure you're subbed, and let's go. That's the name of the Slipknot track. The video, that close-up, very Slipknot.
Suffocate! Eclipsing light! Shine out by every mistake! The winds will hush your cries in the storm of your restless face! Rising pride, moral divide! Are you conscious behind the knife? Or is it just another disguise? Take them by! Take it now! Take it now! Everything that I have! Leaving nothing left! Eclipsing light! Strangled by every mistake! Branded by all of your failures! A feeling that you can shake! Eclipsing light! Shut your lying mouth! Are you conscious behind the knife? It all comes crashing down! Burdened by our connection,
Interesting feature.
I long for separation. In the waning glow, every breath tries hard to escape. Your reign is over now. Have you found your grave? Suffocate!
Goosebumps.
I will take it till I find the fucking words. I suffered because of you. I will take it till I find the fucking words. I suffered because of you.
Oh, I was hoping they'd extend that fucking groove towards the end. Man, oh man. Right, a lot to say on this one. Right, so first listen, I am pretty conflicted on this track, as I generally am with hardcore, Knocked Loose, Poppy, from what I've heard from, you know, the other track that she featured on with Bad Omens, because this is only the second track I've actually heard from her. And of course, she has a very polarizing vocal style, as does the vocalist of Knocked Loose, Brian Garris. So putting them both onto the same track is a lot, you know? Two very, very polarizing vocal styles, to say the least. And the way I feel about this track from the feature perspective, first listen, I think that Poppy, her verse doesn't really do much for me. I do think it fits the style of the track, of course, you know. It's a fucking like really distorted, ear-piercing screech that for me works well with like vibes on a particular track. The video and the like lyrical aspects and just the approach that Knocked Loose always has is always very dark and ominous, and the video in particular for this one gave me like a like some haunted, like there's a movie that I'm so bad at remembering movie names, but It's like some church in the forest, and it's just, that's the vibe I'm going with. So for her like distorted, high-pitched, like Fry style vocal, it works for like the vibe they're trying to create. But just like musically and like from a sonic appeal, I find it very hard to really get into her vocal style. Like I said, on the Bad Omens feature, I thought she absolutely smashed it and she fit the vibe of the track very well. But the more I came back and listened to that track, I kind of just like, I couldn't really do it. I was like, okay, right, it's getting a bit jarring for me. But you know, just personal taste. Knock Loose, the track as a whole, I think these guys have absolutely massive moments of brilliance. Like in the last track, Don't Reach For Me, the selling point of that track, and is why it's probably one of my favorite Knock Loose tracks to date, is just the subtle hint of melody in the lead guitar work in the background of the chorus. The no. I'm a big Gojira fan, and that just like instantly reminded me of some of the like sneaky melodies that Gojira get into some of their tracks. So I was a fan of that track. And this track, you know, it doesn't necessarily have a standout melody line. It's less than 3 minutes. Anytime you see a track less than 3 minutes, you just know you're getting absolutely pounded. It's just going to be one of those heavy slam tracks. And this one definitely delivered, but the groove towards the end, man, was sick. Relatively simple stuff, but the way they built up to it with like Poppy's section, the call out for Suffocate, you know, after Poppy's verse where we got like the kind of spoken narrative style that led into the breakdown, all the part from then onwards was my favorite part of the track. I thought that was all really sick. But the initial first verse from Brian Garris and then the Poppy verse as well, not too sold on it. It felt like other stuff that I've heard from Knock Loose before, so it wasn't that shocking or anything like that. And I'm not the biggest fan of that style in general. But overall, I think a pretty positive experience of this track. I would give it a 7.9 out of 10 as my final rating on a first listen. You know, obviously that can change over time, up or down. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, guys. What do you think of the track? What do you think of the Poppy feature? What do you think of the 3 singles released so far? Are you a big fan of them? Which is your favorite one? Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. Leave a like in the video. Make sure you're subbed to the channel. That's all from me. I'm signing out. Look after yourselves. See you in the next one. Cheers.